What do you do when you're the only one in the room asking if the room should exist in the first place? Mind you, you're not the most popular person in the room, you're not the strongest or the smartest, heck, you don't even have the best arguments against the room. All you are is the person who keeps raising the question everyone else has already decided to move past from. It's a strange and sometimes uncomfortable place to be in, and when most people are faced with that kind of situation, they end up just going with the flow until they're in the same spot as everyone else. Shinji Kido, Kamen Rider Ryuki, however, never does. Releasing in 2002, Kamen Rider Ryuki comes out to be one of the most morally complex entries in the franchise. 13 riders are thrown into a battle royale, with the last one standing being promised to have their wish, no matter what it is, granted. An enticing reward that these people are willing to put their lives on the line for, and the show proceeds to give each of those 13 people reasons that, from where they're standing, seem completely justified. From wanting to save their loved one to wanting to save their own life, to just wanting an endless chaotic battle to satisfy their painfully mundane existence, each of them coming to the rider wall full of conviction to see their wishes fulfilled. And while everyone is rigid in their desires, in comes Shinji Kido, a rookie reporter with no tragic backstory, no dead parents, and no grand ambitions, stumbling into this battle royale with no particular power that sets him apart from the rest of the other riders. And while he may not have any strong desires he wants to see fulfilled, he spends the entire series trying to do something none of the other riders think about, end the rider world completely, and the show ruthlessly challenges him for it. The first thing to understand about Shinji is what makes him unusual as a Kamen Rider protagonist. Riders are often born from some kind of tragedy or carry scars in their hearts that fuel their conviction, which is what powers them to fight for what is right. And while those things are present in Shinji, they take an ever so slightly different form. His conviction isn't his own cause, but rather it's his refusal to accept the cause should exist in the first place. He fights to prevent any more fighting from happening. The Rider War is a system that is built to take advantage of the vulnerabilities of the riders to perpetuate a cycle of violence where there are no other options but to fight and survive until the end, all for a cause that benefits the one who is truly pulling the strings. Shinji looks at this system and can't help but ask why it has to be this way, a question that none of the other participants have any real answers to. Like, yeah, they all have their reasons for fighting, but it is not the same as answering why they have to be fighting in the first place. And Shinji, every time he does stop to ask this question, is challenged and sometimes punished by the narrative in some downright brutal ways. He's left to feel the pressure of the system the same way everyone else does, his hands being forced to pull towards self-preservation, because if he doesn't fight, someone else will, and that would mean seeing the people he cares about getting hurt because he refused to play by the rules. It weighs on him a lot, and his real strength lies in not giving in to the pressure no matter how many times he's punished for it. Like, Shinji isn't even the best rider in the war. He gets bodied by a lot of the other riders and monsters, and he fails to save people who get dragged into the mirror world. But after every L he takes, he's still able to get up every time and continue going at it with that goofy smile on his face. But what it does is put Shinji in a really lonely place. Not the loneliness that comes from being disliked. Hell, a few of the riders really like this guy. Despite how often they throw hands with each other, they always seem to look out for him in their own way. Rather, his loneliness comes from caring about something the system around him has built to make impossible to prioritize. Wait a minute, when you think about it, the rider world could be seen as an analogy for capitalism. It's always capitalism. Every rider he tries to reach is operating inside the logic that his position can't fully penetrate. To them, their reasons for fighting are real, the losses they have faced are real, and Shinji doesn't dismiss them. It would be cruel of him to do so. He sees their pain, but he can also see their pain doesn't justify what they're doing to each other, and that is the gap he's never able to fully close. He can connect to people, he can matter to them, he can make them hesitate, but he cannot force them to put down their decks and walk away because the system keeps pulling them back and he doesn't really have anything to offer that competes with what they wish could fix in their lives. It's a really isolating spot to be in, and despite all of that, he still keeps trying. Every rider he meets, he extends the same good faith to. Even the menace that is Asakura, who has killed people in his presence, he still tries to extend that hand to. And this is why he has such a strong relationship with Ren. Ren thinks Shinji is naive. He constantly calls him that because deep down he understands what Shinji is talking about but doesn't want to fully accept what he's saying. He entered the rider world to bring back the woman he loves, Eri, and he sees this as the only way to save her. With her life on his shoulders, Ren understands the weight of a life a lot more than Shinji does, but tries to deny the truth also he can continue fighting. It's why he hesitates when it comes to delivering the final blow against other riders. Ren truly understands the gravity of the actions he's committing, and it's why when he defeats one of the iterations of Kamen Rider Odin, he screams out in grueling pain because he knows that there is no coming back from what he's done. Ren purposefully refuses to listen to or go along with Shinji because he knows that if he did, it would force him to reconsider and question his already shaky conviction. So instead, he puts up a front, acting all cool and aloof while trying to look down on Shinji and calling him naive. But even then, he still stays in Shinji's orbit throughout the entire series, arguing, dismissing and fighting him from time to time, while still occasionally stepping in to protect him in a way that contradicts his performative coldness. In a way, Ren acts as a mirror to what Shinji could have become. A person who still cares deep down but has denied their own feelings on the system so that they can distance themselves from actually caring about anything else. Watching these two people orbit each other is the emotional spine of Kamen Rider Ryuki. If you've been enjoying this video so far, consider hitting that like button and subscribing to help me hit 10,000 subscribers. And if you'd like to see more Kamen Rider content like this, check out this playlist that will only grow the more I make my way through the franchise, so be sure to stay tuned. With that out of the way, on to the ending. Oh, and spoilers I guess. The finale of Kamen Rider Ryuki is one I have mixed feelings on. Shinji dies, the timeline resets, the Rider War is undone, and the world continues without any of it ever happening in the first place. It doesn't really feel like a big and satisfying victory. If anything, it feels kind of somber. The common criticism is that it feels like a cop-out. The weight of every sacrifice, every development, every choice and every death gets removed and everyone is left off the hook. But I think that criticism kind of misses what the show has been doing with Shinji in particular this entire time. Shinji spends 50 episodes saying the war should have never happened in the first place, that the system was wrong, and that no wish was worth the cost of the lives of the other riders. And this ending agrees with him on that. It doesn't really vindicate him in a big triumphant way, like come on, the Shinji we see at the end isn't the same Shinji we've known. It does so by literally making it true that none of it should have never happened. The reset is this show following Shinji's argument all the way to the end and making him pay the price for being right. He dies for it, in a timeline that gets erased so his death doesn't even leave a mark on the world he was trying to protect. It really is a lonely end to him, but I feel like that is intentional. The path of being a hero can be a lonely one after all. And that is the cost that comes with being the only person who cares too much about something nobody else wants to acknowledge. You may be right, you may change things, and the world might not remember that you were the one who did it. Shinji would be fine with that. I will admit, I didn't really enjoy Kamen Rider Ryuki all that much, and this is coming from somebody who enjoyed Phase. I felt like the whole concept of the Rider Wall was heavily underutilized and left a lot to be desired, with it feeling like a needless back and forth with the characters that never really went anywhere most of the time. This was really apparent in the whole middle part of the show that just felt like nothing was really happening most of the time, which made the whole bit feel like a blur to me and frankly caused me to drop the series several times during my watch through. This entry in the franchise just wasn't for me, but I can see why a lot of people would enjoy it the way they do. However, what made it stick to me was no doubt Shinji. He's one of the most morally coherent protagonists in the franchise, a character whose weakness is actually the most precise expression of what the show is trying to say. His whole existence in the story is to argue against the idea that some things are wrong even when everyone around you has decided to accept them. It's why, 20 years later, he's still looked back on so fondly. But what about you guys? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below, especially if you're a Kamen Rider Ryuki fan. With this entry out of the way, I'll be looking for what to tackle next, so if there's any particular series you'd like to see me cover next, let me know in the comments below. As always, this has been your very favorite slice of bread. Stay toasty.